Everybody, good morning. Good morning, Rob, Don, channel member Slitch, channel member Rex, channel member Arturo, channel member Ted, channel member Gaten, channel member Ryan, Darren, Frank, Sergio, Gaten, again. Hangovers to happiness, good to have you. Svenborn, how's Iceland? Getting cold up there yet? Always, right? Anyway, Amy, Cliff, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. How's it going? Everybody have a good weekend? I tell you what, I've been up early today. Feels like I've already had half a day. Had to take the truck up. It finally got the wrap color in stock after the back order. So we're finally getting it wrapped. See you later this week. And it's exciting times. So anyway, glad to have everybody. And good morning. Welcome to the show. If you want to chat with me and say, hey, good morning, even if, you're not you don't know how to do it, click the button right over here, be a subscriber on the channel. A few seconds later, you can chat on the live stream if you're logged into YouTube and you have that ability, right? If you're on a TV or something like that, you're not gonna be able to do it. But if you're on an iPad or phone or whatever, computer, laptop, you should be able to see the live stream chat. Now, if I'm no longer live, you're gonna have to leave a comment down below. That's the way this works. And if you want to, that's what color? It's an interesting thing. I'll show it off when I get it. It's what they call frosted sapphire. So we'll see. It's an interesting color. It's like a 3-dimensional thing. Definitely prettier in the sunlight than it will be in the dark. All right, moving on. So, hedge funds, right? They've got the most buying we've seen. It's almost like a panic buying right now. And share the screen if I can. Oh man, my app for doing the screen share thing is not working. Cool, love that. See what's going on. Fire that up. I mean, I don't know how to. I can fumble around and try to flip the screen, but I need the buttons. There we go. And connect. Did we do it? Not yet. Come on. There it goes. There we go. Now we're cooking with grease. Chicken oil, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, what the heck? What the fudge? It popped up a whole thing on this other screen. Hold on. Remind me later. Tell me about that later. All right. Welcome to the live stream, when something's not working. All right. I guess they upgraded the software and it, I don't know, whatever. So here we go. We're seeing panic buying here in October. This is prime book flows. They are running. So we're seeing short flow dropping off the cliff here. We're seeing long flow. Now look at the net flow. This is the key here is the net flow. Net flow starting in July, or maybe even in June. We saw the net flow. They were flowing it negative. All right, net flow was selling everything off, and really it looks like it started back in May. As we hit all-time highs here, we started selling. And interesting, in August right there, not a big sell, but we kept selling all the way into October. Now, look at this. Net flows have reversed course pretty steeply. Actually coming back up. Now, we're still negative net by quite a large amount, but we're coming back up. That's buying. That's strong buying, too. With the way that's reversed, it's not just humming along. Like you can see this, the slope up here early in the year, January, February, March, just kind of, but now we've got some airspeed on it. And where might that take us? Right? It's difficult to, you have to put together all this stuff, and it's hard for, I guess, the average Joe to look at that chart and say, hey, That's panic buying. But when you had that much net selling and all of a sudden you reverse course like this, I mean, there might as well be a V bottom as far as hedge funds go, because they don't move. I mean, they don't just turn on a dime. All right, we're moving 100-mile an hour, 100-mile long trains, cruise ships size accounts. All right, it's not like the economy, but it is a large. You don't just like, hey, I'm gonna go long Apple today and buy 100 million shares or something like that. I mean, you just like, that's not the way it works. Or put $100 million in. $100 million worth of shares is what I should have said. So utilities kind of getting slammed. Gross trading flow. This is an interesting set of charts, I guess. There's the prime book. Overall net exposure to the U.S. We went off a cliff. Starting in June, July, off a cliff. Now, prime book is generally hedge funds. Big traders, commercial type traders. And how long could this go? They're still quite a bit negative. And they're kind of buying, looks like they've been buying some single stocks. Look at how much they dumped single stocks. Single stock exposure got dumped off like crazy. Macro products, ETFs, they don't usually, they don't hang in ETF products a lot. So we're seeing that exposure to single stocks went off a cliff. Now they're like, oh crap, what if we don't get a big crash? What if we don't, start selling it back here, expecting a big crash, and then, uh-oh. Now it could just be another one of these bumps and humps along the way, and we reverse course and go down some more. But for those that manage, it's one of those things. You can't be left with your pants down, for lack of a better term. Now, look at this. Share buyback authorization this year has been the highest ever through October 4th. Isn't that wild? That's $988 billion worth of company share buybacks. The largest right there. Up 21% from last year. Pretty smoking. That's the most share buybacks companies have ever done through October 4th. And, you get these awesome trading reports off of Zero Hedge Premium. So, all right, moving on. And it's not really a hologram. I don't know. It's one of those things like when you come to the in-person event in March, for those of you that are Termar Trading Lab members, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's kind of a 3D effect. It's interesting. You can't really it's got a glitter, like it's not glitter, it's sapphire. It's these sapphire threads that are kind of like in the wrap, and it's a 3D effect. Like you don't see them every direction, but you see different ones in different directions. And it definitely, like when the sun's on it, it's pretty wild. And it's an interesting effect. So I'll just leave it there. And nobody really has this color because it was brand new color, and it was like I guess pre-order, back order, whatever they call it. I pre-ordered / back ordered it, and they finally got it in. So finally shipped, and the company was excited to get started on it today. All right, S&P 500 just kind of chopping. We made a bottom right there at 7 this morning. Opened up right there on the gap. Yes, last night, kind of hovered a little bit and then flushed down into about 7 this morning Eastern time. Reversing pretty good, but I don't know. That's a higher low, a lower high. Still stuck in between. Now we did bust above that 618 level. Kind of tipped the odds. We're going to go up, but we did stall in the same vicinity as we stalled out right there. running the next fib line here. Why am I looking at futures instead of cash index? Because, well, cash doesn't open for 2 more minutes, and it hadn't been trading since Friday. This started trading last night and gave us some data. We did a retrace down to a 786. If we can hold that and actually break it back above this high that we had on last night, really, at the close on Friday, and last night when the market opened, if we break back above that, we're going to open a little lower here, about 10 points down, break back above that level right there. Odds are we're going on up to 59.34 at the minimum right there, maybe even 59.40 for ES, S&P 500. Now, the actual cash index runs a little bit lower than ES. All right, futures run a little more advanced, in price. And if you're wondering how does this compare, you can see the premium right here. We started out running about 60 points higher. Right now we're down to about 45 points higher. It says 31, but that'll tighten up when the market opens here in just a minute. NQ, NASDAQ. Let's jump in, look at the lower time frame. Same kind of situation. We opened up here, we retraced, we've been rallying just a little bit. If we can maintain that higher low, we went a little deep for my liking. Kind of indicates we may see a flush lower here, 20,300 maybe after the open happens, but and that'll reset this whole thing. But the upside here is at 20,640 right now. And I still, bigger picture on the daily chart. Delete this stuff so it doesn't muck up the daily chart. When we jump back up to the daily chart, there's the market open. We still have the pattern set to go higher right here. Now, we bounced off the roadmap line back here. You wonder what the roadmap line is? Click the channel homepage there. Go to the channel homepage. The video I have pinned to the channel, it's like my favorite indicator. That gives you the code and everything for the roadmap line right there. And if you're like, all right, cool, that's cool. I'm done a DIY. I don't want to try to code it myself. Link in the description, $5. You can just buy it. Easy button, click it, put it on the chart. You don't have to do any code, no nothing. Plus I give you a masterclass and a bunch of other goodies too. And a weekly watch list. So that's all available if you need it. And you don't have to have glasses to see the wrap. It's anyway. It'll look matte black. I guess this is the best description. It'll look matte black, but in the sunlight, it'll have this like sapphire blue glow to it. Unless you're up close, and then it has like a 3D effect, like that you can see. So it'll be like a sapphire blue glow on a matte black. It's a really it's kind of unique, I guess you might say. And yeah, you see it in March if you come to the in-person event. I'll definitely have it. And let's see. I'm gonna try to look it up real quick and see if I can pull a picture of another car wrapped in this stuff. Let's see. Do we have a picture that I can use? Let's see. That's not a great picture. Let's see. I'm not getting all the... So you'll have to ignore the pink roof on this car because I'm not doing that. Like, that's not part of it. It's the hood area here. So like this hood thing, that's kind of like what it'll do. You see how it's like black on the side, but it's like got that blue flash. I'm not doing this pink stuff. Forget that. It's all this one color. So that's like what it is. I haven't seen the car wrapped in it. I haven't seen a car wrapped in it because it's brand new color. So anyway, that's what it looks like. We've had little samples. Yeah, I look good in pink. That's, funny story. Kimberly bought me a pink shirt. Not all that different than this shirt. I put it on and I looked green, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you look sick." it was it was not good. Niche Keats. Anyway, no bueno. Yeah, not good. Here we go. Jeffrey does not look all that good in pink. Just throwing that out there. All right. Russell, we came up pretty strongly. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 days up, and then we've just kind of sat here. This does have the setup to push on up to 2368. 2368. So, I don't know. If we can break above that, that would put us at an all-time high up here. And I don't think, just not feeling that with the overlappiness. I went through this a lot lately, what overlap means. So when you look at a move up and you retrace, and a move up and a retrace, the first move up here and this retrace over here, you skip one whole move. See how they overlap here? That high is higher than this low right here. This low is lower than that high. That creates overlap. That's not conducive to a trend, all right? Trending moves don't usually get a lot of overlap like this. And we've been doing this overlap thing all the way off these lows, this low right here, back in October 23, last year, a year ago. We move up, we retrace, we move up, we retrace, that retrace overlapped all that move up. Then we move up and we retrace, and that retrace overlapped all those highs over here. Move up and it just keeps doing that overlappy, choppy. So when I talk about choppy, nasty price action, a few people have been having trouble with this. That's what I'm talking about. All right. That is not conducive for a trend. It doesn't matter if you're looking at an Apollo trade. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a triple threat trade. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a daily setup. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a market roadmap setup. If you get these highs where you skip a move and you get a high and a low with a move in between, with a swing high and swing low in between, and they overlap, that's choppy sideways action. All right. It's corrective in nature when you get that. Now it can build into a potential bullish move, but it's not high probability until it meets other criteria. All right, sure. And we're not looking for big moves in advancing either. Like this move back here that did a retrace and a bounce, it got the target. That's why these targets are so conservative. We didn't go extending out and rallying. Huge move. We came up to the target and then we retraced. Then we created a kind of overlappy thing, and that's why I've been not as keen on Russell lately. Not as keen lately. Oil over here. This is a big, giant, choppy, sideways, nasty thing here. It just keeps overlapping and overlapping and overlapping. It hasn't figured out what it's going to do yet. And here we are sitting here, barely a higher low. Getting a little green today, but that came up, hit that roadmap line, and then rejected really hard. It did it in a three-wave fashion, which is especially when the overlappy, choppy stuff has three waves in it, and you can't really make out anything but three waves, three clear waves. If you're just not seeing it right here, that move's one. That move, that's two. That move, just color it in real big, cover up everything. See how that's 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3s are not conducive of trends. All right? That's the first. That's the second. That's the third. And then we got this deep retrace. Now that could lead to something that can trend, but it's just not the high probability stuff I'm looking for. All right. That's a deep retrace, a 786. Could it still be a measured bounce? It could. Is it as awesome as I would want it to be? Not really. Not really. So, something to keep an eye on here. If we can get out of this funk, this can trend. But right now, and as I've talked about, if we're down here in 2 weeks, I think it's as simple as that. Who wins? We got 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks left. We're going to find out. The incumbent team may be the winner if oil is down here. GC. Look at that baby go. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful chart. 2760. Even better. Look at this one. Look at her go. 35, baby. 35 is not far away. Look how close that is. Holy moly. Here we go. Here we go. We could see this all the way up to 36, 37 on this move. And we'll probably pull back and maybe get a push on up to that 40 area right there. So congratulations if you believed me and listened to me on silver. I am up many thousands of dollars on that move. Many thousands. I just, it blows my mind. I was up so much on Friday. I was like, holy beep. Anyway, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Even that one, look at that. My calls haven't even gone in the money yet, but this gets really fun if we get above 64. If we can get above that 64 area, this thing could rock and roll. We could be back at all-time high. Baby. 64, 65 area right there. So sometimes I get lucky on this stuff. Sometimes. That gold and silver just telegraphed that move for months. It's taken a while, but it said, hey, this is where we're going. And it's like let me pull up something. Let me see if I can find a quote really quick and pull it up and read it. Hold on, let me see. Let's see if I can find this really quickly. Oh, that was the wrong place to search. Cool. Let's see. Where? Darn it. Come on. I don't see it. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Let me read this to you. After spending many years in Wall Street and making and losing millions of dollars, I want to tell you this. It was never my thinking that made me the big money. It was always my sitting. You got that? Sitting tight. This is a quote from Jesse Livermore. Men who can both be right and sit tight are uncommon. I found it one of the hardest things to learn. Definitely, this is for me too. But it is only after a stock operator has firmly grasped this that he can make the big money. The market doesn't beat him. They always beat themselves because though they have the brains, they cannot sit tight. That's a big one right there. You know, being able to sit tight and wait for what you know is going to happen. That's where you make the big money. That's Jesse Livermore from whatever it is, Confessions of a Stock Operator. Like 100 years ago, he wrote that. And I find it's very powerful. You can be right and sit tight. That's why people are like, well, what do you think? Nothing changed. What do you think? Nothing changed. It's like Bitcoin. What do you think? Nothing changed. Just sitting there. I've already got my position. Just sitting, waiting. I don't like the fact we rejected today, but just sitting, waiting. Just sitting. So sometimes, yeah, it's like that adage. Good things come to those who wait. If you can find the setups that you like. and you sit and wait. This one, I'm up a ridiculous amount of money, and we're getting near the target. A year ago, I got in. I bought shares. I bought thousands of shares. Look at the price now. You can't make money trading shares. Guess what? That's pretty good money. That was a double. This will be a triple. It's finding these setups. This was one I mentioned last week. A potential. Now, is it guaranteed? No. You got to take a shot on them, though. Otherwise, you never get any of them. This was one. I beat the drum pretty heavy. Right there. Another one I saw as an opportunity. This one. You know what I picked up everything? You know, everybody's asking me right now, what are you doing on BTBT? Nothing. You know when I was doing something on BTBT? It was right here. And I've just been sitting. Breakout on this one. Big potential upside. What would I do now? I don't know. I wouldn't do anything. I'm not going to do anything. So, that was a long time ago. Long time ago. March 23. A year and a half ago. Big potential on the upside. It's got to do it, though. It can still fail. Can possibly not work out. Ethereum hasn't broken through the roadmap line. Looks like we're almost to the head and shoulders rejection target. And we may break through the roadmap line and go for extensions on up there. Dollar hanging out between the resistance zone and the roadmap line, which is support zone at this point since we're above it. NKD. I don't know. It tried to break out. Got stuck right back down, sitting right at that. It's now a flip point on the chart. Why would I call it a flip point? If we get above it, it's probably going to go higher. If we get below it, it's probably going to go lower. It's kind of like this point. It's a strong magnet of support and resistance. It's kind of been there. Look, it was even there before we spiked that high. So resistance, 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 got above it. Support briefly. Now it's resistance, 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 resist, support. Try to get away again. It's maybe indicative of something about to roll. Very cautious here. Watching this, we're now busting below that uptrend of lows. Just went sideways through it. It's going to create the opportunity to come back to the roadmap line and go deeper. So watch out if Japanese stock market starts flushing. We could see that spill over into the US market again. It might be done, but we could see this spill over. TGT, what's actually popping and dropping in our market? Yeah, this was up pre-market. Now it looks like it's not. Let's just make sure I've got the correct list loaded. Yep. Target just chopping around. This has a setup to go higher, possibly 190, 190, possibly on the smaller time frame. We set it, kicked it off for 170 also. Smaller little bounce inside the bigger bounce. But it's got to do it. Could just roadmap bounce again. This is starting to be choppy, overlapping. You know, that high. Working on this low that's overlapping. You see the 1, 2, 3. Retrace. That high. That retrace. Starting to be overlapping. Not the best sign of continuation higher. Always looking for where am I wrong. RH, nice push out. Not getting continuation. This may... Now it broke out of the downtrend of highs. This downtrend of highs coming across here. Broke out above it, retested it, pushing out. We would expect this to make an extension up here somewhere, possibly. But when you zoom out and look at it, it's just more of the choppy sideways stuff. It's just been chopping sideways. Gosh. And go back over here. We haven't really made any progress from this point since September of 20. We made a little higher, went a little lower, went a little higher, went a little lower. And here we are, sideways for 4 years. Not my kind of stock to get involved in right there. Drug. This thing keeps being ridiculous. Wait till the bubble pops. Now all-time highs. This is probably coming back whenever this plays out. Humana may be done on the correction. We definitely hit the downside target. We'll have resistance at the roadmap line when we get up there. Somewhere over here. We'll see what happens. BA, nice pop. That may have been it. That could be it, but I'm not a buyer yet. I need a retrace. Now, this could just go ripping off without me. If we get above the roadmap line, that'll be an entry potential. Right now, that does not make a reversal. Not for me. Now, you could buy. You could buy if you believe in it, but you're going to have to believe really strongly because this can come back down, know where you're wrong, and we could still flush down. And it could wreck the whole pattern at this point. We came down pretty deep. Came down pretty deep. On the non-log scale, it got to the 786. On the log scale, exceeded the 618. Didn't quite get to the 786. Definitely well exceeded the bottom of the 4. This is where it gets really mucky here. So I talk about overlapping action, but this right here, this high and this low, they didn't overlap. All right, there's a gap between them. That's bullish trending price action. It's 5 waves. When this got to here, in February, I put this, or in December, I put this big blue arrow over here, freaked a couple people out, and then a door flew off of a plane, and then more bad, more bad, more bad, more bad, all the way down here. Now, this is likely to turn the corner 6 months or so before good news starts coming out. It's just the psychology of a market. So we'll start this could be the bottom. I thought this may have been it back here. Bounced off the roadmap line, went lower. All right. Now, this may be it. Maybe. Not convinced yet. Why am I not convinced yet? Here's the key. This is why I'm not necessarily convinced yet. This move down. That move up. And this move down. How many moves is that? 3. Right? Corrections don't end with 3. Every wave, every C wave, every WXY, the Y wave, they've all got to end in 5. Some way, somehow, they end in 5. Ending in 3 is not generally the end of the move. And with this barely coming up to this point right here, we may see one more flush over here. Would not surprise me. And then we could get a 5. And if this ends with a 5, then it could be done. So a lot of times we'll see the 5 be the same size as the 1. Not trying to scare Goose here. I know he's long as could be on Boeing. May see a flush right down to this 135 area right here. And it could happen fast. That would be what I expect to happen right there. Or a finishing move. Something like this. Right in there for Boeing. And if it got to that level, I might even buy at 135 without a clear sign of a bottom, because this suddenly becomes a pattern kind of like this one over here. When I bought down here, sometimes if they meet the magic and I can do all the subwaves and stuff like that, I'll go ahead and buy. Like this one, when I bought it $10 when we came off the bottom. Because it has a large upside potential. So, Boeing, if we get to that 135 area, maybe the bottom. Maybe the bottom. Elf Beauty. We're in the vicinity where we could bottom. I'm not yet convinced that we're going to hold it here and turn it. GE Veranova just keeps rocking and rolling higher. 334, next upside. ISPC bounced off the lows. This is a dumpster fire chart. Be careful. Don't play with dumpster fires. Playing with a dumpster fire can get you burned. Be careful. That's a nasty chart right there. Down, 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 down. NVMI sitting on the roadmap line. It was on the, yeah. Most of these are popping. Target's the only one that turned around here. Sitting there under the roadmap line. It's got to take a break above for me to be bullish on this one. We're just kind of sitting there in the middle. Now this has the potential to get a lower low. Flush on down here, 154. So far it just has 1, 2, move down. And it could see a little softness. If we find that bottom in this area, we could turn up. But at this point, it looks like it's either going to go down a little bit further to the 176, 166 area, or even down to the 155, 150 area. Could get an extension down to 137 on that one. LTBR. History of doing these spikes and then taking them right back. So I would be careful on that one. If you're trying to chase that long. GDXU. It's not a request show. Mara's not moving. Mara's not on the list. And GDXU popping. Targets, baby. Know where your target is. Know what your plan is. Don't just wait for me to say, oh, gold's done. Have a target in mind. I give out good ones. Sometimes I get lucky. Sometimes we hit them. Next upside, 66.50, possibly 80, possibly 90. GitLab. Could be working on a reversal here, but maybe a measured bounce. That could take it up to this 119, 160 area right up here. If it can break out and run. Come on. What's a point where we would know it's going to break out? Run the fibs above this 61 area. Get above 61, potential to run. Why wouldn't I buy down here? I'm not convinced that was done yet. We may pop up in here and reverse and go lower. Just that was 3 waves up. It has a lot to do with the way this right here, 1, this right here, 2, this right here, 3. I went a little extra on that one. That's only 3, all right? 3 is not the way we start a new bullish trend. 3 is the way we correct something before we make a lower low. Going down here. Be careful. I'm not sure that's the bottom. Nice. Looks horrible. There's not very many gainers that look very good today. Let's look for stuff that actually might have bottomed. Service now. Yeah, topped out. Probably going to retrace. Cigna. Nice retrace, but probably going to go on down to this. We do have earnings coming up next week. Probably going to dip on down to the 300, low 300 area. Or 20 down. 20 down. FNGU has the opportunity to break on higher to 627. We'll see if it can actually do it. CRM. Stuck at this resistance here. Now, if we can get above this kind of area right here, we may extend this on up to 336, but it also has a potential to have bounced and could go up even bigger. Even bigger. And this move up. We did this retrace right there. Not ideal on the log scale. Much better on non-log scale. This move, this move, this move. Possible target would be in this vicinity here. And if we're really bullish, we may go on up to this 500 area up here. Now, as far as time frame goes, how long could this take? These ones right here on big picture, big time frame. I mean, we could be talking a year from now when we're up here. We're already made a substantial move up, but it could still be quite a ways up here till we get there. Coin is looking pretty good, but my activation level is still up here around 230. I need this to break on higher. We're coming right into the resistance, the downtrend highs, the 618, all the things right there. We can get above it. Sets the target to come up into this resistance, and if we get on through that, we could go up substantially to these target areas way on up here. We need Bitcoin and Ethereum to actually break out. Tesla sitting here consolidating on the roadmap line. Coming into earnings on Wednesday. Do we pop? Do we drop? I don't know. We'll talk about it tomorrow. That's what I plan on talking about tomorrow. I'll probably talk about it during the morning show and the 30 Minutes of Awesome. For those of you who want to make requests, 30 Minutes of Awesome, 5 p.m. on Tuesdays. That's the only time of the week I do requests. And you're welcome to come, and I'll do every request you want to do until I either get tired or we exhaust the crowd. So I'll stick around, and it's usually a good time, 5 p.m. Eastern. So that's what we got on Tesla here. Earnings coming up right there on Wednesday after the close. So I'll probably talk about it Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, the fact that it's dropped into earnings has no bearing. No bearing on past events. Look over here. Drop, drop, drop. Down into earnings. Got earnings. Drop more. Bounce a little bit. Drop more. Just because we're dropping into earnings doesn't mean anything. Drop, drop, drop. Earnings reversed. Drop, drop, drop. Little sideways and dropped into the next earnings. Earnings were right there. And we dropped down to the low here. Bounced up, lower high, went lower. Into the next earnings. That earnings. Drop. 70% of the time. We'll talk about this, all right? It's relatively rare when we don't. This one dropped and then reversed. Relatively rare when we pop on earnings. It doesn't seem to have any bearing whether we're dropping or popping into the earnings where we get continuation. So just be careful. Know where you're wrong. I wouldn't bet big on this all of a sudden being awesome. The car industry is not great. All right. We already know how many cars they sold. They don't have a lot of surprises. They already did a 1010 robot event. So, hey, Charlie. Goose is here too. So don't get your hopes too much up on Tesla. Tessie. All right. Also, something I didn't talk about that I usually bring up. Usually in the beginning. Right here. Here's the earnings this week. I didn't even give my disclaimer either. So we've got a variety. We're mostly done with bank earnings. Mostly done with financials. We're starting to look toward big tech. Tesla's kind of like big tech / consumer products. I mean, it's kind of like splitting the line here. Is it a tech company? Is it a robot company? Is it an AI company? Is it just a car company? It's a lot of things. We're seeing GE Veranova coming in here this week. So GEV, GM in here this week. Seeing Coca-Cola, Decker Brands, Colgate Palmolive. So we're seeing a smattering here. And then next week gets really spicy with Apple and Microsoft and Google. Almost all the big tech is next week. And then the FOMC meeting is the week after that. So things are about to get a little crazy here. And I guess I should do this too. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instruments. All right. If you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor that can give you advice based on your situation. I'm not telling you what buttons to push. This still has lower targets and a lower target right there. And USD was on the droppers list. Now we're reversing a little bit. Wonder if Nvidia's doing that. It is. Pulling that up. And AMD is not. And TSM. Yeah, it's almost all. So USD is almost all on the back of Nvidia. And look at Nvidia's up there. And this is down here. So, Intel's definitely not doing anything. Pretty much dead. PDD may get a little more retrace. May do a 618 bounce. If I may actually buy this if we do this bounce right here. I've held off. We set the stage to going higher here. We came down, held that bottom pretty well with three-wave fashion. That you say, like, where's the 5? It was so violent. The 5 may be blurred up, but it's probably in there. Move up or retrace. This is actually pretty beautiful if we get to that 618 level. I'm debating it here at the 50%, but the 618 would make me feel really good about this going to 175 up here. Maybe even exceeding that level on PDD. That's Temu. For anybody that wonders, like when you see the ads for Temu, buy stuff from China, Temu. And then the big competitor, AliExpress, Alibaba Group, right here. That looks like it wants to retrace back and retest the breakout down here at 90. We can do that. Might feel good about a bounce on that one. LAR stuck at the roadmap line right there. That's the orange line I'm keep talking about. Roadmap line is this line over here. We're stuck at it. Expectation is to go lower. UPS expectation is to go lower. I mean, look, why? Tested it here, went lower. 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 What do you expect here? What do you expect? Lower. Until it proves otherwise. All right. This is roadmap bounces upside down. Could you trade puts to the downside? Potentially. You could. You got to know where you're wrong. If it starts breaking these prior highs, we're probably wrong. If it starts breaking down below the 618 here at 128, it very well might get down to 120. The next extension down, there's support. Get below that. Here's the targets right in this area. That's the first target. There's the extension, and there's the extension. Netties, probably going to go lower, down in the 65 to 70 area. Baidu, that's down to the 618. That one may get an extension down to 74, 75 area, right down in here. It gets below that. If we fill that gap, it kind of tipping the odds for me that we're going on down lower. Bonus trades for the day, PBH. Check this out right here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful potential entry right here today. Upside 77 target right there. Here are the statistics. PBH's new potential entry, target 77.05. Stop below 66.18. Upside $4.50. 81% of the time it has worked out on 16 trades since 2005. Usually lasts about 42 trading days. Trading days are not calendar days. Profit factor 2. That's pretty strong. Pretty darn strong right there. So rolling this over. 42 trading days. Right there at 61 calendar days. About 2 months. I'd probably buy 3 to 5 months if I was going with options, if options are available. And bonus trade number 2, CRI. This one's interesting. All right. Now, the reason I didn't lead with this one, the roadmap line is heading down. It's been heading down for a number of months now. So before I get into the actual pattern here and the actual targets, just keep that in mind, all right? CRI is a new potential entry, target 73.71, stop below 59. $6.23 upside. 92.8% of the time this works out with a profit factor of 16. Are you kidding me? That's pretty banging. Now, it only has 14 trades since 2003, so about half of a statistical population. So this may have meaning or it may not have meaning. And the next 14 trades could all be losers and this completely wreck this awesome win rate here. But the next 14 trades could all be winners and keep the 93% win rate intact. So there's the entry. There's the target. We do have the bigger potential bounce cooking in here. And when you run the fib line from the... cool. I love those extra buttons that pop up on the screen. Just love them. Love them to death. We did a potential measure bounce. So this is a bonus right here. It has a measure bounce. That's a lot of greens. Activating the conservative entry. Here's the conservative target. 70. It's at 77. So obviously I have my numbers off just a hair. Or the alpaca data is different than this data. And the other potential target here. If this is a measured bounce. 77, 81, possibly even up to 87. If we get up to 87, we may do the extension on that bounce. Probably a weekly chart bounce. Could take us up to 92, 97, possibly even 108. Nope, not a weekly chart bounce. Maybe a 3-day. Nope, not a 3-day. That's a downtrend. Be careful on that one with the downtrend going. That's what I have to say. I wouldn't over leverage. All right. Have a great day, everybody. we'll be back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel, 9:15 in the morning. And I'll see you later.